Hannah Barron, an outdoorswoman from Alabama, and who's made waves starting in 2016 when she filmed herself catching a catfish alongside her dad and posted it on Instagram. This video was subsequently shared on Facebook, going viral with over 25 million views within its first week alone. And today, her vibrant hunting, fishing, and outdoor lifestyle content has boasted over 119 million views on YouTube, which is crazy.
Wow.
I think I'm 6,000.
You'll get there, though.
So, passionate and adventurous spirit, Hannah advocates for ethical hunting and fishing. And with a broad social media, she offers tips and insight, and she also collaborates with esteemed brands and has also appeared on TV. And for Jeff Barron, father to Hannah, Jeff is deeply invested in hunting and fishing, both as passions and professions, but also shares these skills and experiences with Hannah. His lifelong affection for the wild has profoundly shaped Hannah's interest from a young age. And in addition to running a mill, Jeff ventured into YouTube 3 years ago, guided by Hannah, who started a YouTube channel where they both learned the world of social media, sharing the experiences, projects, and passions. Focusing mainly on building and construction content, Jeff has cultivated a following of 130 plus subscribers. So how's that sound? Is that accurate? Does that sound like you?
Man, you know more about me than I do.
Ha!
I had no idea you were going. Yeah, that was some introduction. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's a win then, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And being from Alabama, we're obviously up in Canada right now, and luckily we had this opportunity to meet. I got to throw a shout out to Jason Shaw. I mean, he's the one who made this connection. So. Big shout out to Jay, who's also been on this podcast a couple of times, and welcome to. Is this the first time you guys have been this far north in Canada?
Yes, sir.
Wow, and how's that so far?
It's a lot warmer than we thought it would be.
Yeah, that image of cold weather isn't really always true, is it?
That's right.
Yeah, it's colder back home in Alabama than it is here. So
very much so.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's rare. Well. It's abnormally warm for us here too.
Yeah, that's what everybody's been saying. It's not helping the hunt neither. So
it's making us hard for us to kill elk.
Yeah, that's what you guys are going to be tagging out is elk.
Trying.
You've gone elk hunting a few times now, haven't you?
Yes, sir. We got one with a bow earlier this year in Idaho.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, that's something to be said, because elk are really flighty animals. Like, they've got a really sharp sense. The smell and hearing, and they don't really stick around, much like deer. They kind of get numb to their surroundings, noises and whatnot, but elk stay pretty sharp. So to get that close to tagging an elk with a bow, that's impressive.
Well, a lot of it was luck, I think, on that deal. That was just one just blew in there and got it, chasing a cow and got in there pretty close.
Yeah, but if you wouldn't have got that one, you'd have got the other one you was stalking.
Yeah. We had a lot of opportunities, though. I mean, it happened on the second day, but there was a lot of opportunities. I
had the same hunt last year. It took me 15 days. Took him 2.
Well, I was hunting elk last year, and I had an opportunity much like that with opportunity, but I'm shooting with a rifle, and it's primarily for meat, and it wasn't far from here, and I seen a cow elk come out in front. And I was like, I thought it was just bull elk were open. So I put my crosshairs right on her, and she was not far, like 50 yards. And I just went, like, just mentally going, okay, I could have taken that shot 2 times now. And then she went down the trail, and then about 4 or 5 other cow elk popped out, and away they went. And I'm like, man, I wonder when the cow elk are open. So I got there, and I got on the synopsis, and
oh no,
yeah,
you could have got it.
I could, yeah, fully legal. I was like, no, and I didn't get anything that year. Last year, I didn't get an elk at all.
That hurts.
Telling the story today, yeah, licking my wounds. And it's almost so people up here typically they'll hunt for elk or moose, and moose used to be a little bit more common because you could just buy a tag and away you go. But then the last 2 years it went on a draw.
Yeah.
And I haven't even gotten a draw both years. So they're like a lot of people. So then they go over into the elk. And so the elk is getting a whole lot more pressure now because of that, eh?
Yeah, I think you can tell too where we've been hunting. You can tell that they're I think they're wise to the calling.
Yeah. Oh, they are.
I think they're educated pretty good, you know.
They are.
Now moose
Are everywhere.
are everywhere. I mean, we haven't seen them, but I mean, we listened to 2 of them fight last night, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff, the noise that they're making is just, it's like 2 skidders going at it, buddy. They're just pushing stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, the moose here are about, I guess, middle of the range when it comes to size. So, I mean, they can get pretty big.
Yeah, they sound really big.
They're not under a whole lot of pressure right now. You see them on the highway everywhere. Have you seen any of the carcasses?
A couple of them run
They're getting hit pretty hard.
Yeah, I'd be skinning those on the side of the road. I mean,
well, I'm not too sure if that's something that can be done. I mean,
why not? No.
I don't know. I think it's
a waste.
Part of it is, I think, the meat. I mean, you don't know how long it's been there for, so it can sour out. But roadkill isn't something that I don't even know if it's actually legal or not. To be honest with you, I've never even looked into it.
Back home it is.
Yeah, back home they don't care.
Yeah. Well, you're traveling down the road every day and you see something, you can stop and you can sort of tell if it's, how long it's been hit.
Yeah.
How bad it's banged up. It's not banged up bad in the truck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, any little bit of meat is better than nothing.
It's better than, leaving it for the coyotes. Or
Absolutely.
Going to waste.
Yeah.
Which nothing really goes to waste, but still.
Yeah.
No, that's true though. But it brings in predators closer to the highway.
That's right.
Yeah. Especially up here, like a lot of people with the weather, you get a lot of wildlife closer to the road in the wintertime, especially because if it gets cold, they'll bunker down and then it warms up. You'll get an El Nino, and then that's when they start moving. They come towards the highway because that's where all the salt is. Mm-hmm. And predators, they clue into that. So coyote, wolf, or whatever, and they'll sneak up on them, and then you're driving along, and poof, in the middle of the night, it looks like a suicide deer, and you're like, why? And that's what's happening there. They're getting stalked. They're using the highway noise, and then as soon as a vehicle gets close, something spooks them, and boop, right in front of you.
Yeah, makes sense. I hadn't thought about that. It's getting pretty smart right there when they start thinking like that.
Well, for sure. Well, anytime you go by an animal and they're just like deer, usually first, if they're just sitting there and you go by and they're not spooked, they don't even lift their head, then you know that they're not going to last too long. They're getting too familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
makes sense.
Getting back to, I guess, the whole social media and catfish and some of the stuff that you guys do, like that's probably the cooler part about it is the genuine, I guess, way it all rolled out, because it was just something you would normally do, probably, I'm assuming, because you wanted to capture that moment, share it with other people, friends and family, and then it turned into something where obviously a whole lot of other people had that interest, and the proof is the fact that the first video you threw out there went so viral, and people have that interest that I don't think many people are even aware of, is it?
Yeah, it all happened on accident, and I think back then nobody had really heard of catfish noodling, other than there was a couple TV shows, but it's also usually like guys doing it too, so it had the shock factor back then with me being a 5-foot-tall female catching, I think the first video that I'd posted was a 30-pound catfish.
Wow.
So it had the shock factor back then. Everybody
absolutely.
does it now, just like with everything else. It's been so...
Yeah, but tell them the story about the camera.
You tell them.
Yeah, we stopped at Best Buy, I think, and bought a little bitty video camera.
Yeah, a little video camera.
Yeah, and had a cheap
Dollar General tripod.
Yeah, I mean a sorry little tripod. So I set it up on the front of the boat on the tripod, brand new little camera. Jumped out the front of the boat to check a hole, and the camera followed me.
Oh.
Yep, tipped over in the water.
Yeah, that was the first day.
Oh.
No videos that day.
No videos that
No.
day. So took it and threw it on the dash of the truck. Just thought it was shot. I mean, it's done.
Yeah.
What, a week later?
I can't
2 or
remember.
3 days later, did that video. My cousin, I guess narrated the whole thing. So he
Yeah, and he's got a worse accent than we do.
It was bad. It was bad, but it was, everybody loved it, so it did good.
That's awesome. That's unreal.
Yeah, that's how I got
That's
started.
a hell of a story. The video that survived all of that is the one that landed. It's great and started it all, eh?
On that cheap little tiny camera.
Wow.
Submarine.
Yeah, he didn't even have a social media then. I think he still had a flip phone.
Oh yeah, I did.
That camera didn't happen to be a GoPro, was it?
No,
Because that would make
wasn't.
sense. Eh? Yeah. A lot of them are waterproof.
Yeah, this one was just like a regular little Sony or something
Yeah, it was a
video
little Sony
camera.
Video
Oh,
camera.
okay.
Yeah, sort of like some of the ones you're using, just
Just not that
size.
fancy.
Yeah. So how did that must have, like, going after that, it went viral and you're just like, ooh, that's pretty cool. But I don't think that at that time you're like, man, this is going to be something that we're going to do more often. So
Yeah, I had no idea.
like,
Yeah, it snowballed and we kind of grabbed it by the horns and
She did.
You know.
She did. I didn't know what was going on. I was just doing it.
going with the flow,
Going with
being
the
a part
flow.
of it.
But everything we do is the same stuff we've always done. I mean, we're getting to come out here now because we met Jason and took him fishing, and now we're coming hunting with him. But
Yeah.
because of social media and this happening, we've been able to make a lot more connections with people, and we've made a lot more friends. We've got friends all over the world now.
I can imagine. I can absolutely imagine, especially with people that are like-minded. So you're able to go and use that as part of not only the adventure, but, man, the stories and the new connections that you guys have. Because like you said, yeah, it hasn't changed much. All you've done is kind of document what you guys pretty much do from one day to the next.
That's right.
It's the same thing. Might be hunting in a different state than we normally do or whatever, but it's the
Yeah, we
same.
used to load up and go hunt public land and whatever states was close enough to drive to.
That's
But
right.
now we're going everywhere
All
we
over
can.
the place. Has it turned into something where it's kind of grown, which is pretty cool, and it's allowed you to meet the people that you've met and travel and whatnot. But there's a whole nother level of almost like you need to figure out not only the learning curve, but regiment, okay, documenting and keeping that routine and everything that goes with,
It gets
keeping it up,
complicated,
because
yeah.
it went from a passion to where now it's almost providing the ability to go into that area. So has it kind of been where you're like, man, this is almost a little bit overwhelming trying to manage the two worlds now?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it gets complicated, but we've always said that if it takes the fun out of it, we'll quit doing it because,
Yeah.
there's no point in doing it.
Yeah. I guess just realizing when that time comes and you're like, oh, okay, let's see how long this goes for before you just pull the pin.
That's right.
Yeah.
When it gets to be too much, or if it's too much like a job, then it's time to go back to your roots. Or,
Scale it back.
Yeah.
I've found that even with what I'm doing. I've done, I'm doing this, and then you're managing a lot of stuff. And, now it's at a point where I get guys like Jay who he'll throw me a text. Hey, people are reaching out now a lot more than when you first start out. I mean, you're doing all the legwork. So I'm sure like with you, it's where the work was and the learning curve was at the beginning offsets, and it gets a little bit more manageable because you're established and you have a bit of a routine and fan base. Yeah. How's the fan base? Is that there? I bet you that's a mixture. Eh? You always get those people out there, like comedy. There's always a guy in the crowd that starts yapping.
Oh, you can't please everybody. It
No.
doesn't matter what we do, what we post. There's always somebody with something negative to say.
Oh.
It don't matter what. And
I
that
don't even
wears
read the
on you
comments.
so much.
Yeah, I don't read the comments.
No,
because
that's a
it just-
good. I've heard that a lot. Just stay
Don't
away from
read.
the comments.
don't read
Yeah,
them.
it's better to just not read.
Yeah, if I looked at hers and read the comments, then I wouldn't get any sleep at night. Because people
Get a little worked
up. Yeah, people are something else. But then we've got a big enough support group that when somebody does come on there and say something, then we both have on both of our social medias that'll come in and just straighten them out.
Yeah, they have they have your back.
Yeah.
Well,
They
good.
do.
That's awesome. That's probably something that kind of comes with the territory with what you guys are doing too, because like I'm telling you, I can only understand that when you're into the passion that you guys have when it comes to hunting, a lot of the crafts and everything, you're building, I think, a a deeper awareness and ability for appreciation when it comes to the hunting and the wildlife and the projects and the effort and, you know, what goes into it. And so that respect is just kind of built in by default because of what you're doing. And people don't see it that way. They see it, for whatever reason, as, I guess, vicious. It's got malicious intent with it. And it's actually, quite honestly, the exact opposite.
It's the exact opposite, yeah.
So that allows, I think, a fan base that probably has a lot of better understanding, and then you get the one-offs that don't really. They probably just come across and see something, and you know, they're
just
like,
want to comment. And they
yeah,
narrow-minded.
Yeah, got to say something ugly. So,
which the biggest thing I think is I've never gone out of my own way to like try to bring somebody else down that I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel sorry for the people that do, because how
well, it makes you
miserable
wonder, because you can't even relate to try and actually go out of your way to make that comment.
Yeah, like I don't have the
effort.
need to.
No, stay in your own lane, as they say. Right?
Yeah, if I don't agree with the way somebody's running their, you know,
that's okay.
Yeah, just keep on flipping, man. You know, you don't have to like it.
Oh, that's true. You know, and you can get into the whole conversation of, you know, a level of hypocrisy, because, you know, everybody has to eat. So whether you're clear cutting land for a vegan diet, or maybe you're, you know, hunting, or maybe, you know, you're eating meat from the store that's mass produced, and there's all huge elements of, you know, injustices in one form or another. So for one to be louder than the other and feel like they're a little bit more of a higher soapbox or moral position.
But you notice you never hear any of us then.
No.
We never complain about if you want to eat vegan, that's your deal. You know, we don't ever complain about that.
No. But it's almost a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you want everybody to have that appreciation and ability and bring them into that world, you know, and say, look, this is how much fun it is, that connection, the moment of sorrow and appreciation at the same time. Right. That's a weird thing to have, especially at the beginning. But then you're like, man, if everybody in the world actually still lived like that, where they had to live off the land, I'm not too sure. Then there's probably other concerns that kind of creep into the equation a little bit too. So there's you got to manage it a little bit, I guess, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
So with catfish, I just want to touch on that a little, because that's definitely, for me, that's a world that's just really foreign. Like, I'm looking at catfish, and you said 30-pound catfish, and put things into perspective. And when you're holding that thing up by the gills, the tail is on the ground. How far off the ground is a 30-pound? Is that a couple, 3 feet?
30-pounders ain't that big. I mean,
no.
Yes, that's just a baby. That was just that one video.
That was just the video that went viral.
Video that went viral.
So what's an average, like nice medium?
Average is probably 30.
Yeah. So how tall, like how high off the ground does that go if you were to hold it?
3 foot. I guess.
About 3 feet.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And they're ugly. What the hell, eh? Are they tasty to eat?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Very.
Why is it the uglier fish are the tastiest? Have you ever seen halibut?
You know them things.
They're ugly.
Yeah, but that's a beautiful fish.
I love those fish.
The halibut or the flatheads.
Flatheads.
I love the flathead.
And the blues.
Yeah.
Well, how many different species of catfish are there?
Just the channel cat and the blue cat and the flathead.
Yeah, the two that we catch are the blue cats and flatheads. There's a bunch of different species of catfish, but the only ones we go after are the blues and the flatheads.
So when you're going after these fish, explain how, like noodling, you're just going down and fishing around with your arm, and you're letting them latch onto your arm so you can pull them out of the den they made.
It's when they're bedding or spawning, kind of like bass do. When the water gets a certain temperature, they'll start spawning, and they'll find holes, or they'll somewhere sunlight can't get to because it'll kill the eggs. Whether that's in the banks, hollow logs. Where we started was under boat ramps, like concrete boat ramps where the water'd wash a little bit and they get in there and fan out a hole. And now we put out boxes because we've got so much competition, talking about that double-edged sword, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody used to noodle.
It's getting more popular.
Yes,
very popular.
Nobody used to do this, and now everybody does it. So we got so much competition. So we started building boxes. And the boxes are just another nesting area for them.
Yep.
So if you're building boxes, like up here, there's regulations. You can't bait, you can't do this, and there's, I think, etiquette with it.
Right.
Now, when it comes to noodling, are there certain things you got to be aware of, like a box, or does it have to be dimension or time, like variables there? Or?
Very state to state. Alabama, you can put out boxes. There's no regulations on noodling, pretty much.
Yeah.
Alabama doesn't love catfish because they're trash fish, as they call it.
Yeah, they eat up the game fish. So the brim and the crappie and the bass and all that,
They're a nuisance then.
Right. The man that got us started catfish noodling was our local game warden, Brad Gavins.
Oh,
so,
perfect.
yeah, so we learned all the rules and regulations
Awesome.
right off the bat.
Yeah, you can't learn from someone better than that, can you?
That's right.
That's right.
Right on.
But in other states, it's illegal to put out boxes and stuff like that.
So is that illegal, like certain time of year? Like here, we have hunting season, and there.
Yeah, in some places they do have a season for grab. Yeah.
Not in
just because you
Alabama,
mentioned the water temperature, right? So that must trigger, I think, a
Yeah,
little
you
bit
can
of a.
only catch them a certain time of the year, anyways.
Yeah, they're not in there all summer long.
Oh, they're
Springtime.
normally out swimming around, and then
Right.
Yeah.
when they go to spawn,
It's
you're
just like a bluegill or a bass
Gotcha.
or whatever
On their bed.
Yeah, it's the same
Awesome.
thing. It's just a certain water temperature.
so that
they-
must make them a little bit more aggressive then, eh?
They're
'Cause
very aggressive, and
That's
they
why-
don't just latch on. They bite and back up. You have to grab them when
Some
they
of
bite. Yeah,
oh, they
sometimes,
nip at you, and then
the blue cats.
The blue cats latch on sometimes, but you don't trust that when you're pulling them out.
No,
you got to
have
grab
to
them.
hold. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, they're not holding tight enough to stay with you.
no, they're just letting you know, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
They don't want to get pulled out of their den.
Yeah, when you
Right.
pull them out, then the party starts. Then it gets.
So what makes them so vicious is because they don't have teeth of or what do they have? Is it?
They do too. Yeah,
It's like
like a sand-
sandpaper.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And those big blues, their teeth will be all jagged and crooked. On the flatheads, they're all even enough. It's like driving like 100 nails through a board, and they're all being even.
I see.
You know, but on a blue cat, they're
everywhere, so they can
Yeah.
puncture a little bit.
oh, they can tear.
It's
they,
just like sandpaper.
yeah, they take hide, hair, and all. Yeah,
And so the best way is to stick your arm in this.
that's
in
right.
this-
That's
Well, what about other stuff? Like, I mean, this must be an area where you got a lot of other
We've never
fish,
had this
like
question.
turtle. What if
Yeah,
a
we-
turtle or
This is the
something
most
snapped?
asked question about catfish noodling right here.
Is it?
Yes.
Turtles?
Turtle.
No, is there ever anything else other than a catfish in that hole? That's what we always get
And
asked.
so what do you tell them?
Nope.
Really?
No,
You've
But-
never had a
but
varmint snap at you and you're like, yeah.
well, the bank fishing could get questionable.
Yeah.
But in those boxes, no, not yet. We still got all 10 of
You got
them.
all your fingers. Yeah.
on wood.
Knock
Yeah,
on
and you
wood.
seem to be shooting guns and doing healthy lifestyles, so it can't be that. So what makes them so vicious? Like, what's the element that you got to watch out for that makes them, territorial in a way where they can defend their area against other, like turtles and
They're just
whatever else.
aggressive.
Beavers.
They're
Oh
mean.
no, a turtle. Yeah, they just keep biting that turtle on the head until he backed out and just had enough. I mean, it was just. But they're protecting those eggs, so that's why we just set them all back. We just turn every one of them back. We'll tag them, and then release them.
Oh yeah.
We'll
We
keep
might-
a few of them every now and then, but they're the small males.
Yeah,
So
So when you say tag them, is that just for keeping track?
just not even a name. It's just a zip tie with a certain color that we do. If we got them in the boat, we'll put a zip tie on that fin, and in that way we'll say, "Ooh, we caught this one."
Oh, so for your own reference.
It is,
Right.
yeah.
is that so? You guys are the only ones who do that,
No,
or is
we
that
got
common practice?
Yeah, we got some more friends that do it, but it's just to say, okay, we've caught this
Yeah.
fish 2 or 3 times this summer or whatever.
That's a pretty cool idea.
It is, yeah. And catch them the next year, and we'll just add another zip tie to it. So some of them look like a candy cane. I mean, we've caught several of them, several times.
Really? That's cool. I'm not too sure you can do that with too many other fish or animals, really.
Probably
Haha,
not.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, probably not. Well, you could, I guess. Yeah, you keep catching a bass, you could take that top fin and just put little zip ties on it, marking.
So do catfish typically, is that a certain area like in Alabama or certain, maybe few different states where there's a thread or an area where they typically, the habitat is the highest and nowhere else in the world? Like we don't have catfish.
No, they go from. Yeah, they're all over the southern United States. Yeah, we got big catfish.
and
all,
the Midwest and all too.
yeah, all the way from, I guess.
I mean, Okla's like dead center, just
Yeah,
about it as
Oklahoma,
far
yeah.
as statewide.
Yeah, I guess from Oklahoma
Midwest and
all the way
Kansas.
over and up. Yeah, I think the record was the record one caught in Kansas, I think, and that's Midwest. You know, that's
So
right
how
in the
far
heart
south do they typically, or sorry, not south, I meant north. How far north do they typically come up?
Oh,
I don't even know.
I would imagine that y'all have flatheads here in Canada somewhere. I would imagine.
Really?
I don't know
Southern
how-
border maybe where it's a bit
Yeah, I don't know
warmer.
how big, but yeah, I'm sure y'all have them.
Huh.
Probably got blues too, just maybe not big enough to. I don't know. You'd probably be big enough to noodle.
Well, you know, it's weird how some things grow in size the further north you go, and then others get smaller. Like moose, for example, further north, the giants, the temperature, right? The bigger
It's
the animal,
temperature, yeah.
they except for squirrels. Up here, I went squirrel hunting with my grandson. You just met him earlier, and
Yeah.
we got a little squirrel tail. But our squirrels are small. Like there's not much meat. You can't eat them. And I was YouTubing to see how you you fry up a squirrel. But what we have for squirrels, I mean, there's not much. You'd have to get 20 or 30 of them just to.
Yeah.
Well, actually, in all honesty, to keep it within reality, I'd say 3 or 4 would probably be good enough for one person, for like one sit down.
That's about the way it is. I mean, ours are, 12 inches without the tail.
Oh, okay. So maybe they are about the same.
They are, but let me tell you,
Chipmunks, then I guess down south. That's a whole nother.
Yeah, chipmunks. We
size.
don't eat those.
Oh, you don't?
No, they're real tiny. Yeah, 6 inches maybe.
Oh, huh. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. I'm just look at me learn.
Yeah, but
This
now
is wild.
squirrels, don't underestimate the squirrel.
No,
They're good.
Some ground gravy, biscuits.
I'm gonna have to ask you for some tips on how to cook
Well, it's
them.
on
You know
my
that?
YouTube. That's all you got to do is check it out, man.
Yeah,
It's-
there's a pile. It's a lot different between YouTube and actually being with someone who's done it. I mean,
True,
there's
yeah,
a lot there.
true.
I've learned a lot about welding and things that I've done on my own, but then I've always the difference between trying to figure it out watching YouTube and then if I get a buddy who knows what's going on and then I
Oh,
get him
yeah.
to give me a hand just in one afternoon. Whew, we're talking a whole level different ball game
For
altogether.
sure. Yeah, for sure. It's made to look pretty easy on YouTube, but
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So with catfish, that's kind of what most people gravitate to, and what started this off for you.
that's
but
what it's all about. Man, the
Is that-
catfish, the catfish queen, right?
Oh,
the,
I
the
hate
queen
that.
right in front of us.
No.
No?
No, I hate that.
She hates it. She hates for somebody.
That's why he says it, because he knows I hate it.
Well, I had to get her fired up a little bit, get the excitement up a little bit. Catfish queen. Tell us about it, kid.
So what else do you guys get into then? You're into hunting and all kinds of stuff, but the catfish is just one element of it.
That was
it's
just the shock
kind of the
factor
start.
of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really, I think my passion is.
Well,
is-
we hunt and stuff a lot more than we
yeah,
fish and catfish. Catfish is just what
just
blew
what
up.
we're doing that time of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're bow fishing, catfishing, sucker gigging, frog gigging.
There's always something in season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you prefer hunting with a bow. Is that true?
I do, but I've killed so many with a rifle that now I'd rather do it with a bow. But
I like hunting with a bow everywhere but back home in Alabama.
it's
Because
Wow.
it's so much harder
it's so
back
much
home.
harder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Why is that?
The deer are smarter.
they're just different.
They get run with dogs a lot too, though. So
Yeah,
Yeah, they're pressured a lot more.
They're
They have to
pressured.
adapt.
they're
They
so
hunt
much
deer with
smarter,
dogs.
though.
That's kind of interesting.
Bear,
I guess
yeah,
it makes
bear.
sense. We would hunt with hunt bear and everything else with dogs. Why not deer?
they run them.
I bet.
They run them hard down there. It makes it a mess too.
So do you need to get tags or is it a draw when you're hunting deer down
When
there
you buy
because
a
they're pressured?
license in Alabama, you get 3 buck tags
Oh, really?
automatically. Yeah, well, you can kill 3 bucks a year
Oh, yeah.
And then you can kill a doe
every day.
every day of the season
Wow.
from October the 25th in our unit, I guess. Yeah, from October the 25th until February the 20th, you can kill a doe. a
February
day.
10th.
What did I say, the 20th?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 10th. Yeah, February the 10th.
Wow, that's not like up here at all.
No. It's you can kill a bunch, but you can't kill a bunch.
Is it open area? Down, like, is the population density fairly high or?
It's in places it's real. Yeah, it's real high.
Because that's one thing I've always been a little surprised about. Like we're far north. Like there's a lot of area. You want to drive from one to, I mean, you coming out to the studio, you guys travel through a fair bit of country.
That's right. Yeah.
And yet it's so regulated. You would think that there'd be such a huge supply of wildlife and game, but it's heavily regulated. And then down in a state where there's a fairly high population density, you go by a tag. I wonder what that is. Isn't that a weird little
There's not as
flip-flop?
many regulations, and we got more animals, but they're just so hard to kill.
Yeah.
Which these elk are hard to kill on this trip.
Yeah, they are. It's dense up here too, so a lot of it you're probably just not seeing.
Yeah,
And they're not talking.
Yeah, it's not open. It's like ours back home. I mean, you don't see deer standing in the field on the side of the road in hunting season, or even in a field 300 or 400 yards off the road. You don't see them in daylight because something might happen to them.
Yeah. Whereas up here you see a lot more of that.
Yeah, them old boys down there, they ain't scared. They'll roll the window down and let one eat.
Ooh, we got a bunch of
really?
redneck outlaws back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this year it's coming. It's becoming a lot more common. There's been this last 5 years, there's been a shift. Let me tell you, a lot more people are getting into hunting. The price of meat in the store, and now the increase in regulations. Like just a little town down the road, Taylor, people are complaining because, there's a lot of people that are leaving the carcass out. On the street, they're just being, they're poaching. Yeah.
Not
so
good.
the pressure's on, eh? A lot more people are getting into it. A lot more people are trying to grow and get into a little bit more of their own self-sustaining kind of way of life.
Because the world's going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that an effect on you guys? Like the other element that you have on YouTube, and I'm telling you, this is something where I was like, man, I need to start doing this. It's just documenting stuff and, the projects that you have ranging from, building a home to, some of the hunting trips you go on. I mean, Jeff, you've got a wild array of different stuff on your social media that you dig into. Has that had an effect where people are curious? You talked about learning on YouTube, so people just kind of curious, how do you build a fire pit, or how do you, do something, project you've done?
They've been watching it, so maybe they're learning something. I don't know. Maybe it's helping somebody out. I don't know.
Well, it is. It is. It's how a lot of people seem to learn now. Yeah.
YouTube it. Do the Google on it.
Yeah. But we were talking about deer. I think we're like 1.5 million deer in Alabama. And they want you to take a third of those deer in order to maintain the number.
We ain't
Really?
even going to get started on the pigs.
The hogs, they have legalized hunting over bait in the last, 4 years ago, maybe 5? It's been 4 or 5
Something
years
like
ago.
that.
They made it
seems like a
legal
long
to
time.
hunt over bait because of the hog problem.
Really? So even though they're pressured, the population growth is so high that they're loosening the requirements.
Well, the hog problem is the reason. The insurance company, the wild hogs are just taking over. So insurance companies,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
There's
costing
too
them.
much of a gray area for if you're baiting and you're hunting deer and versus pigs. Like back, if they would have just legalized it for pigs,
Yeah, you can't, yeah.
it's hard to. I mean, then you have, like I said, we got a really long deer season. Then you wouldn't be able to be able to bait that whole several months, and that's when the pigs are moving a lot because it's cold.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get rid of as many of them as possible.
Well, you can hunt them at night.
Oh really?
In the
Except
summer
for during
months.
deer season.
Yeah. In the summer months, you can hunt them all night long with thermals just to they're destroying the peanut and corn. I mean, they'll get out there and just.
Yeah. Well, you would need thermal or something if they're in corn at night.
Yeah.
Oh man. And you would have to bait them now too, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Get them out in an open area to be able to actually see where they're at.
Yep, you can work.
That must be a good time. Hogs are, man, you think I've never catfished, and I'd imagine, that's no joke, but I know hogs, they can get vicious. Whew,
we trap a lot of them, or used to really trap a lot of them. I don't know how many. We probably caught over 1,000. Wouldn't you?
Really?
Caught a bunch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I would think. I don't know. Over the years, it was a lot.
So you trap them over shoot or bow?
No, we just trap them. and then go in there and dispatch them and take them home and dress them. I mean, we build big traps. And then when they go in there, we drop the gate. You know, either it'll be a cell camera and then a dial a phone number and the gate will drop, or we'll just do it the homemade way, which we like that about it. It's good. It's just as easy. Just build a homemade trap with the gate that falls when they clip the wire. You know, the gate will drop behind them and we catch the whole herd. And that's the best way to get rid of it.
Yeah, no kidding. There you go. Actually, that sounds like a really efficient way.
It is, yeah. And now it's used to you could take them home, put them in a cage, feed them out, whatever, you know, in a pen, feed them out. But now it's illegal to move them. The only way you can remove them from that trap is
if they're dead.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Probably getting away too much, and then they're somewhere else and they breed, and now you got a problem in an area you never used to have an issue with.
Well, people want them. People that don't have them, they want them. And I tell them, I said, you don't want them. So what they're doing is they were transporting them to different parts of...
And starting them.
Different hunting clubs, because all of this came from Florida. You know, the hogs were originally in Florida, and people brought them up.
That was their native, like where they were from. And then
I don't know. I mean, they're all feral. You know, just hogs gone wild. You know, domesticated, gone wild. But they completely... They look Russian boar look. I mean, they got the long hair and the long snout and the big cutter teeth. Yeah. So.
Well, it's like how the turtles up here, the same kind of thing. We had a red snapper turtle, and it was legal for a while, and then we wanted to get another one, and they pulled it. It's illegal to have them now because a lot of people, snapping turtles get pretty big, and I had one of the projects I did is a great big huge turtle tank. Like I had to reinforce the floor and everything, and then I just got regular glass cut, sent it in, had it tempered, the whole 9 yards. And the first one I did was 1/2 inch glass, and I had it in the shop, and it started bowing. I'm like, ooh, that's not that's not a good one. So I had to rebuild all from scratch. I went 3/4 inch at this time.
3/4 inch glass. How big of a?
It was huge. I'll show you pictures. It was absolutely massive.
Yeah, you were doing the Bass Pro Cabela's.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, almost. You know, that's one thing I can't seem to. I get into a project and it's like, okay, we're going. Look at the fence. Oh, you're building a fence, and then people are like, man, that's a wall. Yeah. And the funny thing about that was it was right around the same time Trump was talking about the Mexican wall, so everyone thought I was building a tribute fence or something. I'm like, no, man, no. But anyways, I always go big, and this fish tank was huge, and I knew these turtles get fair size, right? So I built this. I cut little pieces of glass and made a little ramp so it can get up out of the water, and heat lamps, and I drilled a hole in the bottom of the glass so that it can circulate the water, and went right to town on this thing, and got this turtle, and it grew into this huge, massive, thing. And it went illegal when we wanted a second one because a lot of people get them when they're really cute, and and then it gets about half the size it should be. And then they toss it away, and they survive and they breed like you wouldn't believe, and they would just devastate a whole area. So, the response to that was, well, guess what? No more turtles. And you wouldn't think they would survive our winters, but
they do.
Somehow they figure it out.
Where are they from?
A red snapping turtle? I'm not sure. Somewhere south where it's a whole lot warmer than it is here.
I kind of want to Google it now.
Yeah. Well, why don't we do that? Yeah. Let's check that out.
Because snapping turtle's my favorite eating. So
is it
red snapper?
Yeah, I don't know about the red one, but we've got an alligator snapping turtle that gets really big.
Red.
There you go.
And they're not legal. Oh, that's a little we call that a streaky.
So these things get about the size of a dinner plate, roughly. And the weird thing about this one is, we ended up getting rid of this turtle because we didn't realize how long they live for, and it just became high maintenance. So my wife ended up giving it to her cousin. So in Canada, red ear sliders have been sighted in southern Ontario and British Columbia. BC, can't quite read that. Their populations, I think, are found on Vancouver Island from Victoria to Courtenay, and from the south coast of the province, including Metro Vancouver. So that's along our border. Like this, that's what I mean. You wouldn't think they'd survive this far north.
And they're doing it.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I'll be.
Yeah, I saw a post somewhere where an alligator had his nose sticking out of the water, and the pond was completely frozen around him, and he was just laying there with his nose sticking out of the water. Did you see it?
Mm-mm.
You didn't see that?
Mm-mm.
But the ice is all the way up, and he waited. He stuck it up there before it froze. I mean, he was that, to do that.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it froze him right there, but he was good. He was hibernating, so he was good.
That is
Lord.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
an alligator. Froze with his head stuck up out.
There's a
just his
reason
nose.
why those things have survived so many years,
So
eh?
many years,
That's a dinosaur.
Dinosaur. That's
Wild.
like the gator turtle. I mean, they're something else. They live for, I think 200 years or something.
Yeah. I don't think we are pushed to a limit like what we have as far as historically to realize our full potential. Like we were talking about, discipline and stuff like that. But I mean, that's self-discipline. It's a whole nother level of discipline or like survival when you have no choice and you're having to, a position like that alligator. I mean, it survived out of sheer grit because there was no other choices, eh? So it's crazy what you can accomplish and get through when
If you
you
got
have
to.
no other choice. Yeah, absolutely. That's wild.
Yeah. The people don't have to worry about that right now, though. They're spoiled.
Not yet. No.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. We won't get into that, but yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. What about building the house? So I've been kind of watching you guys build this house. It's pretty cool.
talking about the
Congratulations
super-
on that.
The super Walmart.
It's not
The
that
super
big.
Walmart, the walk-in closet, the dream.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So, I mean, to put things in a perspective, you lived in a tiny house that was smaller than what most people have for a vehicle almost.
It's a lot smaller than this room.
Yeah.
She's still in there.
That's
Half the
tiny
size.
house.
Yeah, I'm still in it. I've been in that house for 8 years. In a 192 square foot tiny house, so
100, so 8 by 10,
24
24.
Yeah, it's 8 feet wide,
and 24 foot
24
long.
feet long.
But some of that's a porch.
Yeah,
Ain't
I
it?
forgot. No.
Oh,
Or is
the
that-
square footage is part of the porch?
No, maybe
No,
it was
I
a
put the
longer.
I put the porch
yeah.
over the tongue after I moved it.
It was
You know
built
what
on a
you should
travel
do?
trailer frame.
You should put that tiny house in your new closet.
I
It's a
almost
little
could.
memento, eh?
Somebody said that.
Really?
Really?
Somebody
Oh,
said,
damn, I'm
"Where
not
are you
original,
gonna-"
eh?
Yeah, where are you going to put your tiny house in your new house?
Oh, I see. It's like a centerpiece.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, so what's it
could make
like
the
living
kitchen-
in a house like that? That's
That small?
Yeah.
The walls are closing in on me.
I bet.
Because I got too much stuff.
Yeah, you
Everybody's
got-
like, oh, it's so easy to clean because it's so small. Negative. It is very hard to clean because there's nowhere to put anything.
Yeah. You got to walk outside to change your mind. It's
Yeah.
tiny. Yeah.
So this tiny home, like I don't know much about it, but it's got a washroom, it's got everything a normal house would have, but
washroom.
just,
Yeah. She
I
was talking
forgot, y'all, that's the bathroom. I thought y'all meant like washer and dryer and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, is
No,
that what
it
you call
does.
a washroom? We call it a laundry
We
room.
call it a laundry room,
Oh.
but we
Yeah.
call the washroom a bathroom instead of
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
washroom.
Yeah, it's even wrote on the signs up here, washroom. Instead
Yeah.
of restroom or bathroom, up here,
Yeah.
It's washroom.
it's washroom.
English language, but different terminology.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah, it's all washroom. Which
No.
that's what you're doing, I guess, washing.
Yeah, it's got
Alright,
a
yeah.
kitchen, a tiny living room, and a bathroom with a loft above the bathroom.
And that's where her bed's at.
On YouTube, I've seen some of these tiny homes, and you can get some really nice ones, eh?
Yeah. This one's
It's nice. It's just full of stuff.
It's just she's got so much stuff.
So what made you decide that was something you wanted to get into?
I was poor.
Yeah.
And I wanted, I couldn't afford to build a full
She
size
wanted
house.
her independence, but yeah, she didn't have the
The funds.
fun.
So we built a tiny house.
I think she wanted a tiny house, though. I don't think she had. I don't think you would have went with anything else at that time. You were good.
Couldn't afford nothing else.
I think you still wanted that tiny house, though.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think I kind of got to side a little bit with Jeff just because even though I don't want to get it, I don't want to live in a tiny house. When you talk about it, it's almost
It
like, oh, that'd be
sounds
kind
fun.
of cool. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You kind of want to get into something like that,
Yeah.
even knowing that I don't think I bet you the reality of it is a whole lot different than how it is in your head when you're thinking about how awesome it would be.
And it was great. But 8 years worth now is a little much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was meaning it to be temporary.
The problem is, this is the problem. It's not the room. It's the amount of stuff you have in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she admitted that, she had a lot of stuff.
I do have a lot of stuff. You have a lot of stuff, too. You have 47 barns by the house that's full of your stuff.
Buildings.
Listen. We're not talking about me.
And your closet is huge, too.
It's not as big as yours.
No, okay. You're a dude, though.
Okay, we're not going to get into that either.
I'm just going to let this play out. This is kind of fun to watch.
If she had a warehouse to put all her stuff in.
If you had a warehouse.
If she had a warehouse to put all of her stuff in, the tiny house, I think, would be fine.
Well, I think you're building that now, aren't you?
I think so, yeah.
Other than having to, we built the gym beside the house.
It's full, too, by the way.
And going from the gym to the tiny house to get clothes or something is annoying.
Okay, also, since we're getting into how big my closet is 8 by 20.
It's a good size closet.
It's a back porch. I just closed in the back porch.
Wow, yeah, that is a decent size. That's a legitimate walk-in closet.
And it's got my freezers and all that stuff in it.
That's about the size of her tiny home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have another 8 by 24. That was my solar keel. That is now Hannah's closet.
Well, it was, but everything in there was getting moldy and stuff, so I took stuff out.
Okay.
And put it in the gym. That's why the gym's full now.
The gym's full.
That's how it goes. You clean up a mess, and you're just pretty much taking that mess and putting it somewhere else, and then you're happy that you tackled at least one room, organized it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then you're like,
It's crazy how things add up, though. Isn't it? Like how it just accumulates, and you guys are into hunting and all these different, interests. And every one of those interests has, a little bit of stuff that you accumulate for that interest, whether it be, a project or hunting.
He has no idea.
No.
We got UPS or FedEx. They keep the roads beat down.
Yeah. Good customer.
Hauling stuff in there. So, yeah, we got a lot. Guns, we got something for everything.
Yeah.
A lot of it, too.
So this tiny home, you said you're still living in it. Are you getting close to the end where you're going to transition into
We got a ways to go with the house.
Yeah. If we could quit hunting long enough.
Yeah, it's on a standstill right now because we're not there to work on it.
Way. Yeah. So what is it like in the winter as far as temperature then? Like what is the coldest kind of weather you see?
I mean, it gets cold sometimes. Or I say cold. We're in Fahrenheit. We don't know anything about Celsius.
Yeah.
So
I was preparing. I was just thinking, how am I going to convert that?
Yeah, 9 or 10 degrees would be.
I remember it was 6 one time.
Yeah. That's cold. I mean, for there, that's cold.
And it's super humid where we're at, so it's a wet cold.
Yeah, humid. Yeah. That is a different cold.
Different cold. Here, this morning, it was, in the 40s here, we would say, probably in the 40s, upper 40s, 49.
I can tell you exactly what it is in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I can bring that up, actually, and we can use a little crossover.
47 was low, and the high was 70. Back home... Oh, wait, no, it's warm. It was colder and warmer back home because, it's just
warms
backwards.
Up fast back home, yeah.
The high is 79 at home, but the low was 44.
But it's a different kind of cold.
Well, humid cold is way different. I've had it 40 below Celsius here, which is the same as Fahrenheit. And it gets really cold. The moisture gets frozen out, and you can see how the air is glittery because it's all those little moisture crystals. Mm-hmm. And then it warms up to about 20 Celsius and people are out in their t-shirt again. But then you go to, let's say 15 below Celsius, and I'll have to figure out what that is in Fahrenheit. But like, let's say Ontario where it's really humid, and I'm telling you, it's hard to bear, and it just goes right through. You can layer up and you can do whatever you want, and eyes are watering, and the wind it feels good until the wind picks up, and then it just cuts right through you.
Yeah, it's a lot different. That humidity and the heat makes a lot of difference too. So you can work in 100-degree weather.
So here we got a little table here. You said it was about 3 degrees Fahrenheit was cold, so that's about what is that in Celsius?
Where's 6?
That gets pretty
Oh,
hot.
it's -15.
So minus 15 Celsius. Oh yeah. So that is kind of cold here, but if it's humid where you're at, that minus 15 would feel brutal
Yeah,
cold.
now that's on.
It doesn't get like
That's
that often
rare.
at all.
I mean, we get, I don't know how many frosts we get a year, but I mean, it's not that many. We have a short winter, so it's probably November the 13th is our average first frost, and then I want to say end of February, we're starting to warm up.
Wow, it's a short year.
It is short.
BC is a huge province, but we have 7 different regions, and it's crazy the difference the further south you go, because here versus, I was just talking to my parents, it's Thanksgiving in Canada today, so we're all talking with different family members,
happy
and they
Thanksgiving
live.
to everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We got the whole pumpkin theme going on, which I just found out Thanksgiving in America doesn't really have the pumpkin theme because Halloween's already passed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we still decorate with them, but they still decorate with them and still have the.
It's like a fall thing.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
a fall thing, the whole pumpkin thing.
My daughter is engaged right now to an American from Texas. He just moved up
Nice.
here a year and a bit ago from New Braunfels, Texas.
Yep.
And
know where
I did
that
a
is.
podcast with him, and the whole thing was pretty much comparisons between Canada and the U.S. We are so similar on, like, almost indistinguishable in culture and language and everything. And then there's other things that kind of catch you off guard because it's not very often, but like the washroom thing where it's like, say what? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Or mannerisms, the way you pronounce a certain word has a different meaning, even though it's an English word, between Texas and Canada. And it throws us for a loop more than anything, because you don't see that on TV. If it's an American TV show, they don't show that stuff.
They don't show. Yeah, they don't give you the redneck version of it. So.
No.
Yeah.
Shout out to rednecks, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and let's clarify that. There's a difference between like a redneck where, you know, Beverly Hill or like the hillbillies, that kind of redneck, or a redneck that I kind of picture myself and I picture you guys as, where it's a little bit more self-sufficient. I don't know. I would almost say a different version of farmers. We don't really farm, but we're just the hunting redneck kind of outdoorsy kind of, there is different forms of redneck. We got to make sure
Well,
we
I don't
clarify
know.
that.
I think back home, I don't think anybody takes.
Nobody takes offense to redneck back home.
They don't. It depends on where you're at. I can imagine that people would take it differently.
Yeah, I suppose.
But back home, it's just, oh man, thank you. You know, pat on the back, redneck. So
The more redneck you
hard-working,
get, the better
blue-collar.
it is.
Yeah, just a hardworking blue collar fella.
So we should start wrapping it up here, but I did notice that you guys like Oreos.
Oh, I love Oreos.
What is up with the Oreo?
I just
thing?
like chocolate, and Oreos don't melt when you're on the boat fishing. So
Yeah, I like chocolate, but I like Oreos too. I mean, Oreos she can put a whole box in a little Ziploc bag and throw it in her backpack, and she's good to go.
I was listening to an episode with you guys where you guys were talking about how Jeff, you stole all of Hannah's Oreos, and she was getting pretty worked up over that.
Yeah, let me tell you,
it happens.
this kid right here,
I'm hungry right now.
she took, since we
Jason
don't
and
need
them was bringing us
binoculars.
food
Yeah, since we don't have, you don't need binoculars.
because you can't see far.
I mean, you can't see that far here, so or where we've been hunting. So she took her binoculars out and filled it up with snacks.
Because I didn't want to carry the whole backpack.
Yeah, she don't have a backpack now.
I have the backpack. I just didn't want to carry the whole backpack.
She's got her boyfriend toting a backpack.
No, he had a giant backpack, and he wanted to tote my backpack.
And this boy
little.
can eat. Let me tell you, this boy can eat so much. So he needs a backpack full of groceries too. So, and then Hannah's got her snack pack right here, convenient. And she's eating them in the truck before we ever make it to the woods.
Oh, there you go. Just
Yeah.
getting prepared.
Getting
stocking
that
up.
calorie, getting that calorie intake up because
Yeah.
we're fixing to burn them off. And Jason, you know, he likes to walk.
Yeah.
I think we've been
He doesn't take water, food, nothing. He won't drink nothing.
yeah, and he can walk in. This is what I was telling him last night when we got back to the truck. Finally, I said, "How in the world can we walk 10 miles a day, and every bit of it, the way in and the way out, be uphill?"
That and his point. You remember that 0.3 miles he said we had left the other day?
Oh, I know.
I was thinking
This boy right here, he.
I don't think he knows how to convert stuff to miles
No,
yet.
he's talking about something else. I don't know what he's.
Well,
He said it's 1.5 miles in, and I told him, I said, "Man, that's the longest 1.5 miles I've ever seen in my life. We've been walking for an hour."
was the terrain a little bit more aggressive here than it is in
No,
the States? No.
it's just a lot of it.
It's just a-
when you're not giving us the facts. He said we're walking in a mile, didn't he?
Yeah.
A mile and a half.
No, what got me is when we were on our way back, and it was like, we got like 0.3 miles left to go. 0.3, that ain't much.
Yeah, and let me tell you something.
2 hours later, we're still walking. I'm thinking,
45, and we ain't. I mean, we are picking them up and putting them down. I mean, we moving.
yeah.
And still, I'm thinking, it's an hour in there. And
Well,
then
do you know what? The grind is what you're going to remember, and I'm glad he's doing that, showing you a lot of good stuff up here. I mean,
It's beautiful, beautiful.
He is
country. We
one
love
hell of
it.
an outfitter, and
he is.
I'm so glad that you guys are being able to experience every last part of that, because, my goodness, talk about something. It's got to be something else to pack all those different experiences within
man.
such a short period of time, eh?
It's been a heck of a trip for sure.
I just noticed. I said, "Hey, damn
We
it!"
sure did.
I sure did. I got something on the Oreo thing. I was like, okay.
All right.
I don't know if they have Oreos coming all the way from up there, so I got you both some Oreos. Hannah,
Thank you.
Jeff,
You got the
And
and I got the double
stuff.
stuffed. There you go.
You are the
Just
man.
in case you guys didn't have enough for the road, and I seen you have a bit of a crew, so
There you go.
He even knew to get the double
I
stuff.
don't know what. The man's been doing his research.
Done his research.
you
ain't no
betcha.
doubt.
Got it, man. You guys came all the way out here. That's the least I can do is show a little bit of interest and
Well, we
knowledge.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And I got one other thing here for you.
Uh-oh.
Because you were asking about the podcast, I'm like, how am I going to make sure these guys have the coolest thing to listen to ever known to man? Well, let's give them a Bluetooth speaker so they can listen to Kevin Unscripted.
There we go.
You get the camo one there, Hammer.
Oh,
And then Jeff, I'm going to give you
Heck
two
yeah.
options, Jeff. I only have
I
two
love
left
that.
here. I've got the color blue, and then I've got the color red.
Give me the red one.
The red one there?
The red one,
All
yeah.
right. So those are branded Kevin Unscripted
That's awesome.
JBL
I like it.
Bluetooth speakers.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Very cool.
My
Yeah,
pleasure.
thank you.
Yeah.
You bet.
You were the man. Yeah.
Well, where do people find out where you guys live? I mean, Googling, Jeff Barron and Hannah Barron gets you quite far on YouTube, but is there handles or anything on Instagram and stuff people can look you up?
My Instagram is Hannah Barron 96. His is Jeff Barron 70. Facebook is Hannah Barron Outdoors and Jeff Barron.
Is that all it is on mine? I don't know on Facebook.
That's kind of, Hannah, you run that, don't you? Even from the first video, poof, you pretty much set it all up, and then Jeff, you just kind of.
I just work here. Yeah. I'm gonna
He
get a
does all
shirt.
the heavy lifting.
Yeah. Don't ask me anything. I just work here. That's what my next shirt's gonna say. Because
Well,
I have no idea about the technology. I just.
shout out and air fist pump to you, Jeff, for
Thanks, sir.
being the model that I think a lot of people appreciate and look up to, because to see the relationship that the two of you have, I think is an element and a big part of why you guys are both so successful. Right from the first video all the way up until now, you can't fake that kind of stuff, and I think that's probably the biggest reason why people follow and has grown so much. It's amazing coming from someone who just started. Jay got me on you guys. Absolutely love it, and genuine people like you are more rare than it's sad how rare that is. So shout out to you both. I love the father-daughter relationship you guys have. So, and I'm glad you guys were able to come over and be a part of us.
Having us. Appreciate all this stuff.
Heck
Look
yeah.
here. Yeah. Now, Hannah, get to. Don't you just keep your eyes and hands off of my
watch
stuff.
it now.
I got my own now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well, until next
Thank you,
time,
sir.
guys,
Thank
take
you,
care.
Kevin. It was great meeting you too, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah,
sir.
Likewise.
thanks for having
Yeah.
us.
My pleasure. Take care.
You too, buddy. Bye-bye.
Nice! Ho-ho!